Welcome back, everyone, to a sold-out Fenerbahçe Stadium in Istanbul, Turkey, for this UEFA Champions League matchup between Fenerbahçe and Manchester United. Along with Peter Vermees, I'm John-Paul Dellacamera. We'll check out starting lineups. First, for the home team, they are a mix of Danish, Turkish, Nigerian internationals, and a Bulgarian who is very famous, Emil Kostadinov. He'll be a player to watch, Peter.
Well, he's one, and also Uche Okafor, number 3 in the back. Look for him to shore up the defense, but the most important and dangerous player on the team is number 11, Kostadinov. He's the man who's going to try and do everything he can to score some goals today.
He's been suspended from 3 games, so this is the first time you'll see him in the Champions League. Eric Cantona will be one of the stars to watch for sure, and he might be the star to watch today for Manchester United. Certainly, he's the player to watch if you're Fenerbahçe.
Well, I think he is what drives this team forward. With his intensity on the field, he brings everybody else's spirits up, and he's going to do everything he can to get his team up with a goal.
We talked about the injuries of this team, Giggs and Keane not playing. We didn't expect Pallister to play. We were told he had a back injury, but he's out there. Your referee is Manuel Diaz-Vega. Did the Euro 96 opener, the draw with England and Switzerland. That may be where our television audience saw him last. He's got a lot of experience in the Champions League as well as UEFA Cup competitions. Fenerbahçe will be in white, and the Red Devils of Manchester United in red as we get set for kickoff. And this could be an anxious opening 10 minutes or so, Peter. It's a tough place to play in, an intimidating crowd, small stadium.
Well, for Manchester United, I mean, the important thing is the first 10 minutes that they just have to sort of pick up their intensity on the field and try to thwart the attack and the onset of Fenerbahçe. And it's going to be tough, but I'm sure that with their intensity and the way they play and their experience in European play, that they're going to do very well.
Throw-in coming up. Neville normally takes them, and he'll take this one here. Looking inside, it's headed down into the box. They were looking for Solskjær, the Norwegian star. Cantona going shoulder to shoulder, and he'll lose that tussle. Neville trying to help out, a handball, I thought. Goalkeeper saying it was, but there was no call. Now it goes out. The booing is for Neville and the official, probably.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is what kind of intensity you're talking about in the beginning of the game. When you keep pressure in the opposing team's half, Manchester United is doing a very good job of just pressuring the ball and just trying to keep anything alive, and getting balls across the middle of the field can create all kinds of havoc for the opposing team.
Beckham is a rising star in the Premier League. He'll take this corner. Beckham will send it right into the middle, headed wide of the far post. Nobody close enough to it. Now David May will get it. Looks for Cantona. Instead, Solskjær got a piece. Manchester United trying to be the aggressor here on the road early. Beckham's pass is blocked. And finally, Fenerbahçe will take it. Ibrahim sends it all the way across. Closest man was Pallister. Here comes Fenerbahçe with a crowd on their side, and the offside flag goes up. They were looking for Ilker on an overlapping run on the right wing.
This is one of the dangerous things that Manchester United does. They push so many people forward that they're so susceptible to counterattack. You see the offsides here, very lucky, but they keep players on. Neville does a good job to pull off and step his players off sides. But at the same time, when you push so many people forward, you become so susceptible to a team that's so fast as Fenerbahçe.
Kostadinov was the player that sent that ball through. First half, we're in the 3rd minute. Scoreless game between Fenerbahçe and Manchester United. But the game's gotten off to a pretty good pace. Manchester United off that free kick. More of the jersey pulling going on early on in this game. Uche. Fenerbahçe coming forward, looking up the middle. Tunke is number 8. He'll chip it through. Kostadinov is the intended target, but one of the world's best goalkeepers is right there, the Danish international Peter Schmeichel.
Well, Schmeichel does a good job as he comes off his line. The important thing about a goalkeeper is that he cannot hesitate off his line. And Schmeichel just comes off it very aggressive, covers the ball, uses his body to shield it, and just stands straight up after he slides out and grabs it with his hands.
Neville will play it back to David May. May will bring it up slowly. Not much pressure by Elvir Bolić. Bolić is a Bosnian international. The whistles are for Manchester United, but They don't care. They don't mind if they come out of here with just 1 point. That's their style. That's the strategy on the road in the Champions League.
Interesting thing to see with the Manchester team is that in years past, especially more recent years in European football, they've been very impatient as far as play is concerned. They try to take their same style that they play in the professional league and bring it to European play. And they really haven't been successful with it. But you can see over the years they've become much more patient in European play. They tend to hold the ball at the back. They build it up a little bit more. And they pick the right moments when they should pressure the ball and when they should step more people forward to try and keep the ball on the other team's end. And that's a really important point when you're playing European football, because it's a whole different mindset, a whole different pace of the game.
Yeah, although he's not starting today, Poborský, and then I think Solskjær, who is starting, I think those moves were made for Europe, and the same with Jordi Cruijff.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's situations where you have to be able to play this game at a different pace, at a different level, and also from a technical standpoint, too.
Ilker from the back. Trying to play it across. Ilker looks like a man that must be watched by Manchester United on that far side. He gets through in a hurry down that wing.
Well, he reminds me of a player in Spain, which I played with. He just loves to overlap, but at the same time, he never loses on his defensive responsibilities. Because you see here, he's going to do one thing. He's going to either cross this ball or it's going to go out of bounds from the opposing team and maybe get a corner kick. And that's what you want to have, is a guy that overlaps. You always got to make the end result happen.
Schmeichel getting ready. Scoreless in the 5th minute. Inside, headed down. Uche was there. From his defender's position. Beat Pallister in the air. Okocha lets this one go out. One of 3 Nigerians on this squad. Ilker. Back for Okocha. And now Uche out of the back. Ibrahim will knock it. This side is playing with a lot of patience. Jes Høgh. He's a Danish international. Uche. So far, Kostadinov has been unable to find himself some space, but he is a threat whenever he has the ball at his feet. Fenerbahçe playing here at home. We've gone 6 minutes without a score. They're looking inside for Okocha off David May. Denis Irwin, the Irish international. He knocked it out. Fenerbahçe will have it.
Early on in the game, this type of things you want to do as defensive teams, especially playing away from home. Ball's in your end, just kick it as far and high as possible and get it out of your way. And hopefully you can regroup defensively and just get your team set tactically.
There'll be a throw-in on the far side for Fenerbahçe, coached by Sebastiao Lazaroni. You may remember him. He coached Brazil in World Cup 1990, heavily criticized for trying to make Brazil more of a defensive team back then. Ilker got some help. Tunke sent it across. Now it's Ibrahim, number 6. Tackled away. Aggressive play by who else? Gary Pallister. This one is cleared away. Jes Høgh was over there.
That's what makes Manchester United so dangerous, is that once they win the ball, whoever's closest to that area off the ball just makes a charging run up the flank, and they try to get down and around you, and it's very tough. If you're not the type of team that can run with players, then you're going to have a long, hard day playing against a team like Manchester with the way that they move off the ball and their intensity level around the ball.
The goalkeeper is Rüştü. 1 week ago, he was involved in an international match with Turkey. Several of these players were just last week. Rüştü and Erol for Turkey. Bolić, who plays for Bosnia. Kostadinov with Bulgaria. Manchester United players, some in that same boat. Ibrahim off the left foot. Headed out of the box. Settled by Neville. The pressure on by Kostadinov. And it'll go out for a throw-in for Manchester United. Our first look at Emil Kostadinov. He's played with a lot of good clubs, including Porto, Bayern Munich, and Deportivo La Coruña.
And he's a player that you can never count out, because as you start pushing up the field and he's behind you, he's so quick that he can come in and just return and steal a ball right from behind, as you saw there. He got his foot on and actually blocked the pass, which actually almost turned into him getting it back and then maybe getting a service off.
Manchester United now picking up the pressure a wee bit. Cantona has yet to find his niche in the game, but it's very early. Ibrahim. And that's knocked out by David May, number 4. Formerly with Blackburn and Aston Villa. Ibrahim on the throw-in. Okocha. Ibrahim across, going to the near post. Never got there. Look out for Kostadinov. What a miss kick. Give him that shot 9 out of 10 times, and the goalkeeper will at least have to make a save.
Yeah, that was a big. I think he was very surprised to find himself all alone on top of the box with a nice flight of ball to him, which was really a rebound. And he gets a full volley. He just shanks it off the outside of his foot.
Denis Irwin on the throw-in in the 10th minute. Off the steal. Good hustle back. Ronny Johnsen was there. Played into Kostadinov off his chest. He and May are there. Credit David May with some nice work against Kostadinov. Yes, he probably did hold the jersey, but if you get away with it, it's a good defensive play.
And when you're in that close quarters as they are right here, you're definitely going to have jersey, a little piece of his arm, maybe his side. Kostadinov does well to try and get it off, but he does a good job selling the ball here. That's one thing he possesses is excellent technique. But just good defensive play. Very good defensive play by May.
And no question he was held on that play. 11th minute, scoreless, Fenerbahçe and Manchester United in match day 3, or on match day 3 of the Champions League. David May. Across, it's Irwin. Beckham. They're not even playing balls right now to Cantona. Neville. Beckham again. Oh, he got chopped. Foul is called on Fenerbahçe. Champions League full coverage comes your way on our Champions League highlight show Sunday with Mike Hill and Tommy Smith. Check your local listing for the exact time in your area. There is Solskjær, one of the rising stars. He looked good in match day 2.
It's a good ball flighted across the box. It seemed that the first player got skipped off his head, and then everybody else was kind of off their mark.
Well, first 10 minutes are gone, and neither side has given up a goal. Manchester United not letting the home side dictate the pace here, but neither is Manchester United setting a tone yet. But again, they'll be content if they can get a tie. The win would be a bonus. Coming back to defend, Kemalettin to Uche. Uche out of the back, straight ahead. Bulut. Ibrahim. He had Okocha wide open, calling for the ball. Instead, it's inside to Bolić. Takes a long time on the ball, slotted across. Ibrahim. Okocha and Kostadinov. Okocha shot wide. I thought Schmeichel got a piece. So did Okocha.
This was a very impressive build-up. It started in the back with Uche playing the ball into the middle, and they spread the ball from one side of the field to the other, got Manchester United off balance, and as Uche plays this ball through to Kostadinov, he lays it off perfectly, and this is a tremendous shot across the mouth of the goal. I actually think Schmeichel was lucky because his ball kind of bounced up and sort of redirected past the goal. But a great chance from this position, going to the far post. Ball just skips a little. He actually gets his fingertip on it, too.
Okocha was right, I was right. But that's not the way the call went. That was close. Manchester United sending it long. Cantona heading it to the right side. Oh, Beckham's being held and then goes down late. Ibrahim should be called for that.
The impressive thing for me right now is, as you see this position here, look at the fighting spirit. just trying to get anything you can right there just to take Beckham out of the play. But what's also incredibly impressive is the way in the back, the way they're playing right now with 3 defenders, and Uche sitting in the middle, just controlling everything, and has a lot of confidence on the ball. And he's not, and defensively too, they're playing very well tactically, but he's allowing Kemalettin to go forward and play more as a defensive midfielder once they do win the ball and they start to push forward.
Cantona will push it across in the 14th minute for Gary Neville. Neville's brother Philip also plays on this Manchester United side. May pumping it long. Gary Neville all the way across. Cantona left it off. Here's a shot that's deflected. Wide of goal, but those can be scary for a goalkeeper. Jordi Cruijff was there.
Could have been a very dangerous play. Beginning of deflection, bouncing over his head, but this is a tremendous back pass by Cantona to Cruijff, and he takes the shot. Actually, if he would have probably hit it first time, he had a better chance to strike that goal instead of taking that extra touch. But beautiful layoff.
It was deflected, so Beckham has the corner. Going near post, headed away by Uche. Brought back down, though, by the Red Devils. Neville right back inside, headed down. The flag was up and acknowledged. Jordi Cruijff, famous father, Johan Cruijff. All kinds of rumors about where Johan Cruijff might be coaching in his next stop. I even heard a rumor, Peter, that he might be your coach in New York with the Metro Stars.
I heard the same rumor, but we'll have to see.
You hear Ajax when Louis van Gaal leaves, and maybe another team in Spain, but it is interesting. But it's always tough when your dad is a superstar and you have to follow in those footsteps because you've got that name.
Very true, but I think he's done very well for himself over the years. He's a very good soccer player, but he also possesses something that not many players do of the status of their father, and that is a very high work rate on the field.
Tackled out by Neville. Should be a corner for Fenerbahçe. Kostadinov will head for what he hopes to be an open spot. Okocha on the near side. Getting ready. Remember the Nigerian Olympic gold medal winning team in '96. Deflected out by Manchester United. Cruijff heading it forward. Solskjær couldn't get it all. And finally, chased down by Uche on the far side. He too won the gold medal with Nigeria as one of their overage players. Ibrahim pushing forward. He has Okocha to his left. This is J.J. Okocha. Give and go. Oh. Well, if you're a defender, Peter, you hate to see that coming at you.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of skill right there. I mean, that was incredible. One-on-one technique that he used right there to get by his defender. He had nothing else but really to just chip the ball over him. He did a tremendous job of keeping it and actually getting that ball into the box. But again, defensive for Manchester United. They did very well to close down the near post.
Bolić missed the target. He's upset with himself. He had a nice setup. Schmeichel's not happy about it because you don't want to see a free shot from that close.
No, especially with players like this. Bolić has a very hard shot. He hits this ball a little off-center to try and get it go to the far post. But Schmeichel, with all the experience that he has, he does have it covered, but he's still upset with the situation. And here again, Okocha with a great individual effort. He plays this to near post, but actually Kostadinov really can't get his leg to it. The ball bounces up on him and hits off his knee.
The reaction of Elvir Bolić, 22 goals last year. He led his team. He was second in the league. Manchester United with the ball. Irwin playing it forward. You're watching our coverage of match day 3 of the UEFA Champions League from Fenerbahçe Stadium. It's sold out in Istanbul, Turkey. You've got Manchester United and Fenerbahçe. Both teams looking for the game's first goal. Peter, how do you assess the first nearly 18 minutes?
Well, I think it's really easy for Manchester United to figure out that Okocha is the playmaker for Fenerbahçe, and they're going to have to really start to be a little more aware of him whenever he's around the ball because he's so deceptive. And again, here you see him receiving the ball. He can do a lot of different things.
Here he comes. The shot. Schmeichel. Fortunate to get down on that one. Okocha is upset at himself. He thought he could have had a better finish.
And he rightfully so should be. Look how much space he has here. He can keep running this ball into the box and he takes a shot from so far out. Schmeichel does a good job to cover the goal, but at the same time, the near post is wide open here, and he hits this ball, and he actually misses it himself. And it's a good save. He actually gives a fingertip on it, but not much.
19th minute, scoreless game. Okocha, obviously the most dangerous player in the field. Lazaroni watching. Denis Irwin is back. For Schmeichel, the winning goalkeeper in Euro 92. His side didn't do as well, not even close, in Euro 96. Denis Irwin, formerly with Oldham Athletic. Pallister, big and strong at the back. Ibrahim knocked it away, almost given away. Jordi Cruijff chasing it down. Manchester United will play it back to Pallister. All the way across to Gary Neville. And every time Manchester United tries to deaden the ball, take the air out, the crowd gives it to him. There's some communication.
Yeah, I think Schmeichel's saying that they need to pick up the pace of the ball a little bit. As you see, as they switch it from side to side, it's very slow, and it gives a lot of time for Fenerbahçe to react and close them down. They need to move the ball a little bit quicker, and he's saying that, listen, we got to get a little more aggressive out here, because right now we're sort of in a sluggish mode, and that's not their normal style of play by any means.
Schmeichel will give you that. He's a very vocal player, and he's always intense. He wanted to see a little bit more of that from some of his mates. Ibrahim playing it back. Høgh. Kemalettin. Back for Jes Høgh. Team's player of the year in 96. He also played in Euro 96. Okocha. Back for Schmeichel. In the 21st minute, it is still scoreless. Manchester United on the road, hoping to get at least a share of first place in Group C if Juventus were to lose today. And if Manchester United can win. But again, this is a tough place to win it. Jes Høgh, one of the anchors of the Fenerbahçe defense. Gary Neville with a throw-in. 21-year-old right back. Alex Ferguson leaning in and then leaning back. Solskjær was looking, and now it's cleared by Fenerbahçe. Pallister will give it the chase. All the way back in his own end. Schmeichel is out there with him.
It's hard to figure out with Manchester United right now. They have Solskjær, they have Cantona, and they have Cruijff, and it seems like they're always pushing forward. It's almost like they have three going forward at all times. I don't know if Cantona needs to sit back a little bit behind, because again, we see here, we have Solskjær and we have Cruijff up front.
They're missing Giggs and those great crosses and runs in the wing, and they're missing Keane in the bite in the midfield. There is no midfield right now. So maybe Cantona does draw back, but somebody will have to assume that role.
But even how much he's dropping back, it's not enough, because he's not giving that link between the forwards and the midfield, or even the defense for that matter.
Uche. Now to the right side, Fenerbahçe with possession. They're in the predominant white uniforms with stripes against Manchester United in red. Red Devils breaking right side. Jordi Cruijff. Formerly with Barcelona, coached by his dad. Look at this. Fights off the tackles. The left-footed shot was wide, and Cruijff did everything well except for the finishing touch.
You can read it all the way that he was going to keep this ball himself. Solskjær does a good job to run around him, take the defender out of the way. He doesn't really get much of a great strike off here, but he does a good job of keeping possession of the ball, beating his defender, and getting the chance off for that.
Showing some strength in riding off those tackles. You can see Dutch football right here on ESPN every Sunday. Check your local listings for the exact time in your area. This is a battle for first place this weekend. PSV and Feyenoord. Luke Nilles, Mark de Gruyse. On the right side, it's played over by Fenerbahçe. Bülent on the cutback. Okocha and Kemalettin were involved in a two-man game. Now it's Jes Høgh. Fenerbahçe to slow down the pace. Tunke, number 8, all the way across. Played inside the box, and that's cleared by David May. Jordi Cruijff knocking for Cantona. That's probably his first 2 touches in the game. And now it's cleared away.
Actually, that's his second touch, and he's lost it twice so far.
He'll get there. Here's Jordi Cruijff. Beckham. Brought down by Solskjær. Talk about riding tackles. And that shot, though, is blocked. Settled. Cantona holds, chips. Cleared away by Uche, and it should go out for a corner. It does. Manchester United will have the next best scoring attempt.
The one thing Cantona does for you, he always seems to find himself in the right positions to get the ball and do something dangerous with, just as you saw there, he's on the left, he moved to the right, he got the ball crossed it in. It was actually a great cross, just nobody really seemed to read it.
Beckham off the corner. The header is over the bar. And both sides think it's theirs. It's going to stay, apparently, with Manchester United.
It's an excellent way to get up. Actually, it looked like he came off of May's head, actually. The referee's so. Right there. He saw it. The team looked like it. When we saw it the first time, it actually looked like it came off the defender's head.
Beckham on the in, swinger for the corner. Punched out by Rüştü. Not out of danger. Headed back by Manchester United. Flags they were appealing for. They're not up. Cantona across off Cruijff. And then it's cleared. Fenerbahçe down the right side. Bolić picking up speed and then some. Bolić tried to take the shot. Kostadinov might have been a better option. And this goes out of play, but it will remain Fenerbahçe ball.
I'm still not sure if he wasn't trying to still cross that ball to take it one more step in here. As you see him coming in, it seems as if he's trying to play it across.
It was.
But I think Kostadinov was upset because it took so long to get there that he was open a little earlier.
You're right. It looked like a shot live, but you could see him trying to cut it across. Kostadinov played for Bulgaria along with Stoichkov in World Cup '94, and Bulgaria were one of the surprise teams, finishing in the top 4.
And Kostadinov has a lot of the same gestures that Stoichkov does.
I know those gestures. Corner kick. JJ Okocha. Everybody going forward. Uche got to the last one but couldn't score. It's settled. Tunke looking. Oh, that took a bad hop on him. Looked like he was going to be able to volley it or half volley it, and instead that bad hop fooled him.
Well, Tunke took the same replay that Kostadinov took earlier. This is a well-crossed ball. Actually, if he's here, he should take this right off his chest and hit it first time. He waited way too long. Defenders were there anyway to actually block the ball if it was coming straight in. Schmeichel had the middle of the goal.
He let the ball play him. Peter Schmeichel, 32-year-old goalkeeper with 90 caps for Denmark. And that's a lot because Denmark doesn't play as ambitious a schedule as do other national teams. Alex Ferguson looking on. Potential substitutes right there alongside him and his assistant coaches. Nicky Butt getting free. Nicky Butt plays it across. It's settled. Inside Jordi Cruijff, the shot. What a save! Rüştü.
Cantona's presence around the goal is incredible. He comes back, he's his back to the goal, but as he's receiving, he sees Jordi Cruijff, and he doesn't pass it to him. He actually flicks it between 2 defenders. Cruijff takes it off his chest, turns. It's a great volley.
Here's Beckham sending it across. Pallister was in the air. Headed out by Fenerbahçe, brought back inside the box, and the flags are up.
Doesn't seem like that back injury is hurting Pallister at all. He's still getting up for all the headers.
Makes you think about those injury reports. I know teams try to cover up injuries for obvious reasons, especially in the bigger competitions. Try to find out a guy's injured during a World Cup. Good luck.
Well, and the other thing is that, you know, players, for them to miss games such as these is very difficult. I mean, you want to play in matches like this because they mean so much, and you don't really get to play in many of them in your whole life. So, you know, if you have a nagging thing, you're going to, who knows, maybe take an injection or what have you to try and play.
These teams are both involved not only in the Champions League but also in their respective leagues. In the Premier League, Manchester United has yet to lose, yet they're in 4th place, but just a couple of points out of first. Fenerbahçe is in 2nd place in their league, in Turkey's 1st division, trailing Galatasaray by 1 point. So both teams doing well in their league, and it's tough to get the motivation up, and sometimes teams have to make a decision. Which game this week is more important, because they know that a certain player cannot play at that level for both games.
And depth becomes a real serious factor throughout the season, because you know you still want to continue to do very well in the league, but at the same time you have to keep players fresh and ready to go for the UEFA Champions League. So there's a lot of I guess finagling of the system, you know, the players on the field that you use, and you have to be very, very smart and a good manager of people, and you know, really read on how they are. So a manager personality is definitely a key factor in being a very successful coach in UEFA Champions League and their league play.
Sent long the other way, looking and finding Solskjær, and did he push? That's what the referee is going to come up with. It's on Ole. Remember his name. It may be hard to pronounce, but remember it. He scored 4 goals in only 7 appearances for his national team. This is after the foul was called, and a surprised Solskjær looked on. Fenerbahçe with the ball. We are just about 30 minutes into this game. All the way back for Høgh. This is match day 3 of the UEFA Champions League from Istanbul, Turkey. Scoreless between Manchester United and Fenerbahçe. This is Group C. And Manchester United have a lot at stake today. If they could get a win and Juventus were to lose at Rapid Vienna, there'd be a tie for the top in this group. Kostadinov slides it across. Bolić looking. Neville, stride for stride, he'll knock it out. Throw in coming up. Elvir Bolić used to play with Galatasaray and Red Star Belgrade. They're going to say that Neville knocked it off of Bolić, apparently.
It actually did deflect off. When he went to slide, Bolić stuck his leg in there, actually deflected off and went out of bounds.
Schmeichel will give it up. Pallister. Now Denis, Irwin. Not a lot of speed at the back for Manchester United. Neville may make up for it. He might be faster than 2 of those guys combined at the back. May and Pallister have experience and size, but not speed.
See, I believe this is what Schmeichel was talking about. You see how lethargic they were in passing the ball around the back. It wasn't real quick movements to try and get the ball from one side to the other to try to find the open guy. And it was such a slow build-up, it's so easy for a team to react tactically and get over there. And I think Schmeichel's really impressing upon his team to start moving the ball quicker and finding the opening guy so that they can really exploit the flanks of the field.
You know, we're not seeing Denis Irwin go up as much on the left side. He's not a fast player. He's got some deceptive speed, but when he's got the ball, he can be brilliant on the wing. But I think it's because of the speed of the other players, especially Ilker on that right side. He doesn't want to get caught, and he knows that there's a slow central defense back there.
That's correct. I mean, he has to be sure that he does things safe. He picks his right moments, and I'm sure as the game progresses on and he finds opportunities to go forward, he'll do it. But early on, he just wants to come away from this with, you know, maybe in the first half, a scoreless first half. He doesn't want to give up any unearned goals.
That's Ronny Johnsen, another international brought in from Norway. Again, these moves were done, I feel, to improve themselves in Europe because they were loaded anyway for the Premier League, as good a league as that is. We're in the 33rd minute now. Still looking for the game's first goal. A giveaway, Kostadinov to Bolić. Bolić joined by 3 others. He'll fire it. May got a block. Maybe not the way he wanted. Bolić has a hard driving shot. We've already seen that a few times.
And one thing that's impressive about him is that he doesn't pass up responsibility. When he finds himself around that goal, he looks for the shot. I mean, he's always positioning himself so that he has the opportunity to shoot or actually lay the ball off, but more times than not, he'll shoot because if he has a shot, why pass it off to somebody else?
Beckham. And it'll be cleared away by Fenerbahçe. Up the left side they come. Ibrahim. Fenerbahçe trying to delight their sellout crowd. against one of the top teams, one of the top named teams in the world, Manchester United, and also one of the richest. They do just a lot of merchandising throughout the world. There are Manchester United fans throughout the world, not just England.
Excellent call by the referee. The referees have been very consistent so far in the UEFA Champions League. You've seen some very good, consistent refereeing. And right there, you saw two players actually were offsides.
Here's Cantona. Eric Cantona left off the Euro 96 team for France. Coach has said he'll keep an open mind as to World Cup 98. We'll see. Here's Neville coming back to defend. He'll knock it away. 35th minute, there's Denis Irwin, who played in World Cup 94 for Ireland. Nicky Butt gave it up to Denis Irwin. And Nicky Butt will play it back. Ronny Johnsen gave it up. Now Johnsen is pushing forward. That one hit him. They better get back. Here's Fenerbahçe. Right down the middle, Okocha. Oh, nice hard tackle from May. The referee giving the play-on signal. Nicky Butt gave it up. Cantona. And now it's played wide right to Beckham. Cantona heads for open space. Beckham all the way across the field. Ilker got to that. Ilker is not pushed forward like he was in the first 5 minutes for whatever reason.
Well, I believe now the difference is that Fenerbahçe better be careful because they're starting to give Manchester United the opportunity to get some confidence on the ball. They're keeping possession a lot better. And if they get more and more confident as the game goes on, they're going to be able to put some situations together where they're going to keep the ball in their half of the field. And Fenerbahçe is going to have to do a lot more defensive work, which could cause some problems for them later on in the game.
Pallister is down right now. Jordi Cruijff coming over to see how he's doing. There was no foul call. That was when they went with the play-on signal.
I think when he went in for the slide tackle, he had beat Okocha to the ball, and Okocha kind of slid into where his hand was down on the ground supporting him as he did the slide tackle.
Sebastiao Lazaroni, the coach of Fenerbahçe, they're calling for the stretcher. Pallister came in with a back injury. They're not thinking about his back right now, not at this moment. In fact, he might have forgotten about the back injury by now. This is Alex Ferguson. So successful as a head coach, 9 years here, winning 2 Premier titles, 6 major trophies in the 9 years, won the double twice in 3 years. And Pallister will leave. That opens up a huge hole in the central defense of Manchester United. We'll see if Pallister comes back.
Almost seems like he's holding his ribs.
Schmeichel going all the way back. 37th minute, and Manchester United will take their time now. Gives Pallister a chance to rest up and the coaching staff a chance to evaluate what to do. Poborský was loosening up. He was to the left of your picture, the longer-haired player. Don't forget, SportsCenter International comes your way 7 days a week. Check your local listings for the exact time in your area. It's happening in sports. You'll hear it on SportsCenter International. Manchester United in red. They'll play it to Cantona in the 38th minute. He finds Beckham. David Beckham plays it across. Cantona flicked it. There was no one there, and you know what? He expected someone there. You can tell by that look.
Yeah, Cantona looked back at Cruijff. That's where he's looking at Jordi Cruijff, because Jordi Cruijff has now moved into the left side a little bit, I guess to help out in the back end, because they're playing with one player less right now, Pallister being out, so he dropped off to the left. But I think Cantona went up. He expected him to come forward, just flick that ball onto him into that space.
You don't want to get that kind of look from Mr. Cantona. Here's Beckham. Oh, nice couple of moves. Young David Beckham. He'll regret that one after what he did to set it up.
Yeah, he just relaxed at the last moment, because you can see what he was thinking. He was trying to bend this ball back behind the defense so it came out away from the goalkeeper and then for somebody else running in. It seemed as Cantona was sitting there, even Pallister is back on the field.
He's still in some pain. You can see him grimacing. It might be what you said, that rib injury. He looked like he was short of breath a little bit.
Yeah, but as we said earlier, these aren't the type of games that you go off for.
No, it would take a major injury to get Pallister out. He'll gut it out at least until halftime, and if he comes out now, you know there's something wrong. Fenerbahçe with the ball. Scoreless game up till this point. Probably the best save was Rüştü's earlier off Jordi Cruijff. Played back by Uche. Rüştü, the Turkish international, also played 3 games, all 3 in Euro 96 for that short stint that Turkey had. Jes Høgh. Well, if you're the visitors now for Manchester United, you've got about 5-6 minutes, depending on injury time, to try and keep it like this if you can. If you get a goal, that's a bonus, but obviously they're halfway to a draw, which would be a good result for them if they can do that. Play the other way, and there is Schmeichel.
They're again trying to use the speed of Kostadinov behind the defense. That's one important thing. The only difference is that, number one, Schmeichel reads the game very well, so he comes off his line. And number two is the defense of Manchester United realizes that they're not as fast as they could be in the middle of the park, so they sit back a little bit more, not giving them the space to play into so that Kostadinov can use his speed to get there.
Nicky Butt, another one of the young potential stars for Manchester United. Nicky Butt is only 21, and he's got a lot of experience already. Especially last year playing in the midfield alongside Roy Keane, who was injured today. I mean, this is a quality Manchester United side, and they're playing with Poborský on the bench right now, and no Giggs, no Roy Keane. These are international stars.
And they're players that are very composed on the ball and add that, you know, that attacking thrust that they need at certain times in the field, which they are missing right now, because you see it when he gets to certain positions on the field, the play kind of breaks down.
Long throw for Neville. He's famous for those. Settled. Johnsen took too much time on the ball. Possession goes the other way to the home side, Fenerbahçe. Fenerbahçe have won 13 national championships, including 1996, and they've won 4 national cups. They don't get the publicity because they are from Turkey, so that's not the same as being from Manchester United in England or some of the Italian or German giants, so you don't hear as much, but 13 national championships for Fenerbahçe is quite an accomplishment. Johnsen busted up. Okocha.
Does a great job keeping possession of the ball. So tricky, so crafty. But those are the kind of things you need him to do around the box. And they got to try to find the ball there, because it seems like he always has to come back and get the ball from somebody instead of somebody else trying to find him somewhere close to the box so he can do that type of craftiness around the box to set up players like Kostadinov or even Bolić.
Played across now by Fenerbahçe. Høgh all the way back towards the keeper. Rüştü to Uche. We're in the 43rd minute. No score between Fenerbahçe and Manchester United. This is match day 3 of the Champions League. These two will meet again later on in the schedule at Old Trafford. Some different players will be involved in that game, and a different style one would expect as well. From the home side at that point, Manchester United. Okocha, someone got a piece of him. Foul is called. Quick restart. Okocha was looking. He had Tunke with him. Cantona. Too fancy for one of his teammates, Johnsen. Irwin. Intended for Nicky Butt. The referee says to play on. Okocha. Now it's reversed, but it took too long. Ibrahim had to wait up, and everyone is back for Manchester United. Tunke. Okocha. Ilker now creeping forward, but this one is no trouble for Schmeichel. He loves those.
That actually wasn't a bad ball, but Kostadinov never really kept his run going. He slowed down. The ball just actually went straight back to Schmeichel.
Bülent, 16. Fenerbahçe attacking, right side. Hard tackle, no foul called. Jordi Cruijff can't get through. Help on its way, though. Manchester United with a long clearance. Solskjær was looking for it. Cantona. Ole Solskjær. Oh, he had Cruijff. Cantona can't find it. Lifted down to this near side. Beckham was there against Tuncay and Ibrahim. Calm play back by Cantona. Johnsen can't find it. Now he can. Across to Denis Irwin. We're in the final minute, depending on injury time. Some injury time put on here. Pallister's recent injury. Should have added some time on the clock. Right side for Beckham. Neville. All the way across, far side. Headed down. No shot yet. Jordi Cruijff traces. It's a physical play. And they're calling that one as more like an offensive foul on Jordi Cruijff.
It's a good way to keep it alive, though. Again, you see how the ball's being switched from one side of the field to the other. Manchester United is most effective when the ball just seems to be played in the middle of the field from one side to the other, get the other team off balance, and they're so good in the air that when they switch it to the opposite side of the field, they always find somebody at the back post who knocks it down. But in that case, everybody had overrun the ball that got dropped back.
Cantona. Intended for Jordi Cruijff. Help on its way. Solskjær. Gary Neville. Solskjær has a tackle away. Down the right wing, Beckham. And that's cut off by Jes Høgh. Fenerbahçe don't want to fool around with it here. We're nearing a minute of injury time. Irwin gave it up. Help from Nicky Butt. And now it's Fenerbahçe. Picked off. Cantona. And Manchester United taking the air out of it a little bit. Ronny Johnsen now gets some help as it's switched. And there's no one over on this near side. Fenerbahçe with a throw. We're nearly a minute and a half into injury time. Rüştü. Last 18 months or so, he's been the #1 goalkeeper with Turkey. Ibrahim chased by Jordi Cruijff. Okocha, can he slip through? You've got your answer. Looking across. Oh, nice fake inside on Neville. He really beat Gary Neville on that play.
Well, he does all the work coming down the flank, but really nobody's showing for any runs. There's only 2 players in the box.
Good first half, although we didn't see any goals in it. Peter, your assessment of the first 45.
Well, I think Manchester United did very well to keep themselves in the game and hold it to a 0-0 tie, but they have to be very careful in the second half with Okocha. He's found himself too many times with some real darting runs into the box.
He's shown a lot in the first 45 minutes. Coming up at halftime, a match day 3 recap with Mike Hill. Plus, we'll have some highlights from the first half. But on the road, Manchester United doing more than holding their own. It's 0-0 versus Fenerbahçe. Schmeichel and Rüştü working on shutouts. We'll be back with more coverage of the Champions League on ESPN.
Really dramatically hurt by that.
When you look at Manchester United, the strange thing about match day 1, they didn't have Roy Keane. That wasn't so strange. They had no shots on goal, but they rebounded in match day 2.
Well, again, coming back off a loss against Juventus isn't that difficult. You realize who you're playing in the first game, but coming back and beating Rapid Vienna by 2 goals was a good plus for them, and hopefully today they can do even better job here.
And Tommy Smith and I broadcast that Manchester United Rapid Vienna game. It was 2-0. It could have been 4 or 5-0. They played that well in that game, especially in the first half. We're getting ready for the second half. Your referee is Manuel Diaz-Vega. Peter Schmeichel getting ready in goal on his side. Couldn't tell you how many saves Schmeichel made in the first half because I don't think they credited him with 2 fingertip saves, at least not by the referee's signal. But he plays his position very well. Best save was made by Rüştü at the other end. In the predominant white uniforms, this is Fenerbahçe. The player that found the most room was Okocha. And one would think that Alex Ferguson must have had some kind of words for his overall defense on how to stop this man in the second half.
I think everybody's going to pay much closer attention to Okocha. And also, it's going to be interesting to see how they come out in the second half and what kind of intensity.
Right side. Maybe a chance. Kostadinov blocked. And it's dead for Schmeichel. There was a chance.
That's where Kostadinov is very dangerous. Now he cuts back here, but a good defensive play. And Schmeichel just has an easy one to pick up and just start the attack off again. But Kostadinov's dangerous when he gets behind because he's so fast. He makes one move one way. His first 2 steps are so quick.
Uche cleared it with some help out of the back. Fenerbahçe and a foul on Solskjær. Kemalettin was brought down. 26-year-old midfielder. He never saw it coming. Would you do anything different, Peter, if you're Manchester United this half?
I think it's time to take a little bit of a chance. I think you start pushing people forward and trying to step up the field a little bit. I mean, you have to be very careful because, you know, Manchester United is very slow in the middle of the field. But I think with the other players, if they pressure the ball well enough, you're not going to have to worry too much because the most dangerous player there is Okocha when he's on the ball. The other players should be able to use offsides and just pull them off their offsides positions.
Schmeichel on the toss up the middle. Johnsen gave it up. Johnsen gets it back. Johnsen has been pushing forward quite a bit in this one. Cantona hasn't had a lot of quality touches in the ball today, but the few he's had, he has made something happen. In the 48th minute, Fenerbahçe and Manchester United are scoreless in this Group C matchup on match day 3. Høgh. Holding. Right to the middle as he squares it to Uche. Uche with 55 caps for Nigeria. Intercepted by Solskjær. Johnsen. Back for Irwin. Off the intercept. Ilker going forward. Wanted to get the return, never got there. Okocha. And it's blocked out by Nicky Butt. Ilker with 5 caps to his credit on the toss-in. Picked off by Butt. Cantona heads it down. Cantona, the team captain, trying to go forward. Still had it, but he's called for the foul. You know, for as much as he's labeled as one of the bad boys and all the trouble he's been in, Alex Ferguson named him captain, and he's responded. He hasn't been in trouble lately.
Well, I mean, you can tell he's a team leader by the way his actions are on the field. Obviously, he has a lot of pride for when he wears the Manchester United jersey, and that's something that you want to be sure that you keep within your team. Somebody has a lot of pride in where they play and what jersey they're wearing and who they're playing for means a lot to the coach and also to the other players around him, and I'm sure that he motivates him by his attitude on the field.
I know a lot of coaches would not have given him that armband. But credit Alex Ferguson because Cantona's played well for him.
You know, the other side of it, sometimes that type of motivation changes the attitude of a player. He senses more responsibility, and then he has to conduct himself in a different way. And, you know, that could be another psychological aspect the coach is trying to play with him.
It goes both ways, and in Ferguson's case, it has paid off. Here's Beckham. Lifting it inside. Uche defending. The backheel attempt. Pretty creative, although it didn't work. Solskjær was looking for butts, and now this one goes out of play.
As you see when that ball was played out, Okocha was on the ball, but Johnsen pressured him so much. He was so close to him, other than in the first half, where the defense laid off and stayed back. There's much more pressure pushing up the field, and right there you saw that Johnsen pressured him so they really could get the ball, turn it upfield, and see the field to try and play balls and spraying behind their defense.
Cruijff defending in the 50th minute. And now 50 minutes have passed. Lifted at the other end and then cleared away by May. Tuncay played it back. Okocha stripped by Ronny Johnsen. Brought down, but the advantage call works in favor of Manchester United. Here's Cruijff trying to beat Ibrahim down the sideline. Ibrahim knocked him down. Play on. That's the referee's call, Vega. Fenerbahçe in deep. David May defending against Bolić. Knocked into the box. And a good play there. Irwin not allowing Kostadinov to turn. May have even obstructed him, but there was no call. You don't want to give Kostadinov a chance anywhere near the box, let alone in it.
You can see that they're playing very well with back to belly on Kostadinov. Every time he checks the ball, someone's right up behind him. And you have to do that with a player like him. If you let him get too far away from you with his speed, he can just get in all different types of situations that could really be dangerous against your team.
This one is knocked out. A Manchester United throw-in. Both teams sticking with the same 11 that they started with here into the second half. We're in the 52nd minute. Gary Neville. Inside for Cruijff. Cantona. Look at that slight push. And it wasn't read well. Throw in coming up. Nicky Butt was there, but he was retreating. I think when you play on Cantona's team, the rule of thought, always expect the ball, no matter how difficult the situation, because it could get there.
For a guy of his size, for how aggressive he is, his skill level is so high. He can do so much with the ball. That's what makes him such a great attacking player, is that he not only has the physical abilities to hold people off, but technically the way he can dribble, the way he can hold the ball and play it off to somebody else and find that ball that he can thread the needle with is just incredible.
Here he comes. Cantona denied. Okocha. Into space, Fenerbahçe sends this one long for Ilkarov, a deflection. He almost got by. Nice play by Denis Irwin coming back. The Irish international. 31 years of age. He's only 5'8". He's a plugger back there.
Played against him many times, and he's thwarted so many attacks by the U.S. team. I mean, he reads the game so well in the back there that, you know, and his work rate is so tremendous. And again, he has speed, so he puts all those things together, and it's so difficult to get by him or even try to attack on his side.
Okocha shooting it. That one is wide. Okocha has not been as much of a factor in this one, I think, in the second half, probably for the reasons that you were saying before, with the pressure on the other players.
Let's see him here. He does a good job of beating his defender and getting some daylight to play this ball. But again, shooting from that angle is very difficult. And there he just needs to try to cross that ball into the middle and try and find somebody like Kostadinov.
They've done their best to try and eliminate some of his options here in the second half.
Well, I think, as you'll see, when Manchester United pushes into Fenerbahçe's half of the field, you will see Johnson, I think, a little bit more closer to Okocha, so he can't come out with the ball.
Irwin sends it long. It is scoreless in the 54th minute. Champions League play, match day 3. The two teams that were favored to win this group, Juventus and Manchester United, right now they're running 1-2. Juventus in first place. They're playing at Rapid Vienna today. Uche to Jes Høgh. And that foul is going to be called by the referee, Vega. Bolić was taken down. Høgh fires. That one was blocked the hard way. Here's Cantona. Into space. Maybe a 2-on-1 setting up. Solskjær has Beckham. And he ran that into trouble. But Beckham will take the shot and he scores. Looked like a busted play, but Beckham has scored. 1-0 Manchester United.
Well, the incredible thing here is that Beckham realistically made the wrong run. He went the wrong way. He should have kept opening up to the left, and then he cuts in front of Solskjær. Solskjær still gets him the ball. He hits the ball from a difficult angle, and the ball just seems to squeeze right underneath the goalkeeper. And near post at that matter, you have to, as a goalkeeper, always cover the near post.
Talk about spacing there. I really thought it was a busted play because of the run initially that Solskjær made, and then Beckham, and then they score.
Well, the interesting thing about a counterattack is that the first thing you have to look for is playing the ball forward. And obviously the second thing is somebody has to be running into that space forward. But the third and most important thing is that somebody has to be running on the opposite side of the ball. And realistically, he had that, but at the same time, he ran right on the same side of the ball, and he still got it, and they were effective. So I guess that breaks that theory.
Alex Ferguson doesn't care. They're up 1-0. Manchester United, that is a huge goal on the road. Coming up for our Latin America audience only on Sunday, it's Bologna and Fiorentina, led by Gabriel Batistuta. They're off to a slower start this year in Serie A, but as long as Batistuta is there, they could be in contention. Join us on Sunday, Latin America only. Fenerbahçe with it, and now they've got some decisions to make. They lost to Juventus 1-0 here on their home field. Now they're trailing again by that score. If they open it up, watch the counterattack from Manchester United. But if they don't, they end up losing. Right down the middle, and the offside flag went up. Nicky Butt. That would have been disaster for Fenerbahçe.
Well, Nicky puts his hand up because he expected the ball to be played to him earlier, because he was actually open for a long time before he got it, and then eventually he was ran into the offside position. But you have to be very careful. One thing you have to be very careful about is when you play at home, the first and foremost thing is that you have to play good defense, because defense is what turns your team around.
Okocha had it blocked. It's loose, dangerously loose. Bolić went down, and everyone expected a penalty. Bolić not arguing about it as he gets back up. The longer that ball stays in the box, potential disaster.
Two defenders come to block Okocha. They do a good job. This ball gets squirted back out. But right there, Pallister goes all ball. He gets all ball first, and the ball just kind of rebounds off his leg, and Bolić goes down.
Usually the key is when you don't even see a player look at the referee, then you figure he feels it was a fair challenge. Fenerbahçe. An awkward clearance at the other end. And this one will go out for a Fenerbahçe throw-in off Irwin. But now they're going to change it. Here's another look at what took place with Okocha blocked.
See, Pallister gets the ball first, and then the player kind of runs through.
59th minute. Manchester United 1, Fenerbahçe nothing. Lazaroni, far side of your screen looking on. The head coach of Fenerbahçe is 46. He's coached clubs in Saudi Arabia, Brazil, and Italy.
One of the difficult scenarios to play under for a team, and that's what right now is happening to Fenerbahçe, is that they are playing under a situation where they attacked very well in the first half. They pushed forward, they controlled the game, and they never scored a goal. And they come out of second half playing 0-0, and they are playing at home. But what happens is, as you push forward and you do that in the second half, you get a little bit more excited. You think you need to score, Players start going forward. You have no safety in the back, and then the counterattack comes, the other team scores. And realistically, when you're at home, you have to be sure to play good, solid, strong defense.
Here's Cruijff breaking through. Slides it across, and a score! Cantona! And they're not playing defense now, Peter. 2-0 Manchester United. Great feed from Cruijff to Cantona.
Well, here's some good individual play in the beginning. The ball that's kept alive here early on is when the ball gets played in the air to Cruijff. He plays it back over his head. He gets it back for the 1-2 here. And he sees Cantona, and he just plays it along the ground. An easy goal for Cantona. He has a lot of experience in that little 6-yard box there, and just puts it over top of the goalie, diving the other way.
Well, the first defensive mistake was not putting any pressure on Cruijff. He had a free pass and a lot of time.
That's correct, because once he controlled it after he won it the first time, he played it in, got the 1-2 back, and he was wide open inside the box. And, you know, the interesting thing is, Okocha had a few opportunities very similar to what Cruijff did there, but the difference is that he either shot when he wasn't supposed to shoot, or he just actually played the ball along the ground, and he really only had, and he had two guys in the box, but he never found them. Whereas here, Cruijff has one, and he finds them.
This is devastating for Fenerbahçe. With Manchester United's experience, they are capable of holding a 1-0 lead. Now they've got a 2-0 lead.
And look how fast the ties have changed in regards to play.
That one goal really opened things up as well, too.
And now things are going to get even worse because now you have to press forward. You maybe even go to two-man in the back, playing man for man. So it's going to become even more difficult for them.
Cantona was chasing that one. Well, their mission is to score 2 goals to get a tie in 30 minutes. That's Fenerbahçe. Can they do it? Bolić. Ilker. They're going up against a very experienced side in Manchester United. Corner kick coming up for Fenerbahçe. There's part of that experience for Manchester United. From the corner, and that's blocked out by Manchester United, sent back in, and wide. Another chance, though.
That was a dangerous play right there from Butt. You're going to make sure that ball a little bit more away from the goal when you're trying to head it out of bounds.
He is not one of their experienced players. Butt, Beckham, and Solskjær are 23 and under. But the rest of the players, and Neville as well, is 21. But 7 out of your 11 have been around for a while of the starting group, and the experience that Neville has had, he seems like a veteran. Seems like he's been around longer. Sent all the way across, right at Schmeichel. A little bit higher, and he might have had a problem with it. But right now, they need a goal to stem the momentum that Manchester United has. Not chances, they need goals or a goal.
Well, but they can't. One thing they can't do is they can't get over anxious. There's a lot of time left in the game. They have to do it step by step. They have to be sure that they do it with safety in the back, but at the same time move people forward from different positions so different people don't get tired out. If you change it up, people are going to be a little bit more paced in the game.
Beckham and Cantona are your goal scorers. 2-0. Manchester United on the road. If they win this, and right now they're most definitely in the driver's seat, and if Juventus were to lose at Rapid Vienna, we'll have a tie for the top in Group C. Sent long the other way, Manchester United. After a pretty even first half, Fenerbahçe were the better attacking side. As you said, nothing to show for it. They come out here and 2 goals 5 minutes apart. Those are killers.
Now we talk on the other side of the ball. When you play out of your home, your impressions are that when you step on the field, what takes you and makes you successful is your attack. If your attack plays well, the defense follows. Where it's just the opposite we talked about before, what they needed to do as far as Fenerbahçe was concerned. They needed to make sure that their defense was strong and that their attack would come along with it and they would continue to move. But obviously that hasn't worked for them up to this point.
Defenses let them down. That shot is blocked. You had a bench shot earlier of Erol, the Turkish international, who is going to be coming in soon. He is a defender, though. So we'll see who they're going to take out. Jordi Cruijff, nowhere to run that time. Jordi Cruijff says it's a corner, is it? They're going to make the substitution. Erol will check in. We didn't see the number, so we'll wait. It's going to be Bülent. Erol for Bülent. Now Bülent, although players do change, is listed as a midfielder. Erol, number 15, listed as a defender.
Yeah, but I think he's more of a, I personally think he's more of a striker. I mean, I think he's more of an attacking player. He may come in more of, I guess, a defender, but at the same time, I'm sure he's got more of an attacking mind. And this, actually, a change should have been made at halftime, because I think if you're 0-0 at halftime, you got to go out with everything you got to be as offensive-minded as possible, because in a game like this, you're playing at home and you have to win. Even though he is a defender replacing a midfielder, the book on Erol is that he does like to play wide on the outside, and maybe that would have been a good halftime change to open things up, stretch it out, and make that middle a little bit softer, because that's where we said that Manchester United had a bit of a problem with speed. Yeah, and I would think that you wouldn't wait for another substitution, because you want to push somebody, another attacking player, maybe it'd be another striker, someone who comes on and gives a spark to the team, can score, has a nose for the goal, because, you know, there's not much time left in the game, and 2 goals, it's not something easy that you're going to fix in a short period of time.
And especially against this team. And you've got Schmeichel in goal.
Good point.
Played all the way to the back. Schmeichel. Here's where they'll work the clock. Being the smart team that they are. They've got a big game coming up against Newcastle on the weekend. Huge game in the Premier League. Right now, that's far from their minds. Solskjær lays it ahead. Johnsen. That's the Norwegian connection. Solskjær and Johnsen, they almost made a big play out of it.
We talked in the first half on how, as the game would progress on, Manchester would start finding the flanks and they would start moving a lot more people forward. And you're seeing now that there's a lot more overlapping, more people are getting into the attack. But again, it's with safety in the back, and that's where the important thing is, because you know that Pallister is always going to stay, so is May, and that's going to give you the stability that you need and the confidence to go forward as a team.
And a slip on that near side. Throw in coming up, that was Beckham. It's all about finishing. Beckham and Cantona finished on their chances. Okocha, as much as he was the best player in the first half for either side, didn't finish. And right now it's 2-0. Manchester United. Okocha. Tunke lifting it. Schmeichel's there.
Schmeichel saw that probably 2 passes before that ball was coming there. He was so ready for it. You'll notice something though. Erol, who came in the second half here for Fenerbahçe, he's actually playing more the role that Okocha was, and he's coming back and receiving the ball, and now he's trying to find Okocha more closer to the goal, what we had talked about earlier, trying to get him more closer to the goal and using his crafty skills around the box instead of 60 yards away from goal.
Okocha needs some help. You expected he would need it in the second half because you knew Manchester United had to make an adjustment or this player would have beaten them in the second half. He almost did in the first. Okocha. Oh, a hard shot. That deflection knocked it out. That may have saved Schmeichel. That one looked like it was labeled.
You know that shot was on goal. This is one. It actually looks like he hit it off center again. Another ball spinning out to the outside. But if this ball is a little bit lower, there's no way Schmeichel gets to it because he reacts to the first shot on goal.
Corner kick, though, in the 68th minute. Beckham and Cantona are your goal scorers for Manchester United. This could be a huge win on the road in the Champions League. Pallister. Oh, into space. Jordi Cruijff is behind the defense. And then the defense catches up. And then some with Ilker with a good run back. Jordi Cruijff, 1 assist so far today. Coming up on Sunday, the MLS Cup, the first ever. DC United versus the LA Galaxy. Check your local listings for the exact time in your area. That is Sunday. Off the block, Peter Schmeichel, my partner here, played for the New York, New Jersey Metro Stars as their team captain. He'll be watching on Sunday. Get his thoughts in a moment. Here's Solskjær. And that's not in the rule book. Free kick coming up.
Solskjær tries to get by his defender, but the defender's not going to let him or the ball get by on this one.
Yeah, there's no room there for him. Ilker was right there defending.
I don't think Ilker ever realized that the ball went past him. I think he thought it went past him instead of stayed in front of him.
Free kick set up, delivered to the far post, and it's cleared out. Blasted away by Fenerbahçe. I have time now to ask you quickly about LA and DC United. What do you think?
I think it's going to be a very, very exciting game in regards to both teams. I think there's going to be a lot of attacking play. But it's interesting. You have a good defense as far as staying home in LA, but a team that tries to keep a lot of possession of the ball in regards to DC. And I think DC has the momentum right now, and I think that they're going to come out the victor in the game.
I wasn't going to put you on the spot, but now you are. That's okay. I picked them as well, but hopefully it'll be a great game. Here's Uche, who started out the year in Major League Soccer. Long shot. That one had the speed, but not the accuracy. But they need something to light the flame, get that spark going, and that would have been it had it gone in.
Well, now everyone's starting to feel a little confident, but at the same time, we talked about this earlier, there's a lot of time left in the game, almost 20 minutes right now as we look, and you have to be patient because, you know, you can't win everything in one shot on goal. You have to build it up the field like they were at the beginning, but I think it's nice to see that Okocha is a little bit more offensive-minded in regards to taking shots himself and trying to get more close to the goal. I think that's going to be a little bit more help to them in the second half.
That's Poborský. And that may frustrate Fenerbahçe because they need the ball to score. They don't want to be chasing Poborský around the field. Nicky Butt will play it back. Pallister. Straight ahead is Beckham. This is a tough team to face in general, but also when you're down by a pair of goals. Doesn't matter where the game is. I would say if it was at Old Trafford, forget it, ended right now. Poborský talking with Alex Ferguson before he comes on. One of the stars of Euro 96, Karel Poborský, for the Czech Republic, the surprise team of that tournament. Gary Neville, 21-year-old defender. Beckham hesitated. Fenerbahçe will take over. Lifted long left side. All they need is one goal to change this game around. Bolić tackled away for a corner. And we'll see if they allow substitution. Poborský wants to check in. They're holding up Cruijff's number. I became a big fan of Poborský's during Euro 96, Peter, watching him game in and game out. He really frustrated the Italians in the Czech Republic upset win.
A very productive player and also very efficient. You know, he gets the job done. He doesn't try to do too many things, but when he does, he's very, very effective on the field. Interesting substitution, though, with taking off Cruijff, because I think he has a tremendous work rate on the field. It seems like he always, you know, he's not a flashy player, but he gets a lot done with the ball.
Ball is coming back. Bolić. Kostadinov. And that's headed out for a corner. Neville headed it out of play. In the 73rd minutes. You know, the interesting part, too, of Poborský, who was coming in, is that in a recent game for the Czech Republic, he wasn't playing wide like he was before in Euro 96. They were running him a lot down the middle, and that surprised us.
Well, now that he's in England playing, they think he has a lot more conditioning, so he can go up and down the field in the middle.
I just think he's so effective on the wing.
This is a good cross. It's actually an excellent cross, especially when the ball comes in your post and you have somebody running into that area. It's very, very difficult to pick the person up defensively because they have such an advantage on you because they're running and jumping instead of you standing and jumping.
My only question was, were there 8 or 9 Red Devils in there defending that time? I mean, they were all back there.
At least 9. I think Jordi Cruijff was still on, too.
Only Schmeichel was left at the other end just to watch. Watching his mates in front of him. All the way back, Fenerbahçe with Høgh to Ilker. 30-year-old Ilker playing with his 3rd team in Turkey's 1st division. I liked his role at the beginning of the game when he kept pushing forward, but then he changed that, and it might have been because of Denis Irwin staying back on that side and the fear of Irwin going forward too.
Yeah, and I really believe that Irwin stayed where he has based on the fact the speed in the middle of the field that they have. They really don't have it, and he has a little bit more of it, so he can kind of control and maybe be the guy to make up for mistakes made. Speaking of speed, Poborský tried to use some of his there. Headed out of the box, Fenerbahçe with Ilker. Well, they're going to be down to about 15 minutes in just a very short period of time here. Makes the mountain that much steeper to climb. Okocha is looking for Bolić. He can look again, but it's stripped. Oh, they got a foul.
On a push, that's going to set up a dangerous free kick, and the lip readers throughout the world just in Gary Pallister's mind.
Tries to play the 1-2 in there for Bolić. And Pallister, the reason why he got the foul called is the way he came with his studs up into the ball.
That's a big man to have coming at you, studs up. And that's what the referee's saying to Jes Høgh. 6 in the wall right now, 7 if you want to count Bolić for the opposition. Lots of times it looks like there's some confusion there, but the players are doing that purposely as a distraction. I like when teams disguise these free kicks. Some teams, you know who takes the free kicks all the time, and it's never a mystery, but others... Here's the shot! Oh, Schmeichel made a big save! That shot seemed to come from out of nowhere. Okocha.
That was just a quick push and stop. And actually, Schmeichel was going the other way, and at the last second he read it and actually dove back across the goal to make the save.
How does he get that much power on a shot when he just basically walks into the ball?
And you know, it's not only the power, but also you also see the way the ball bends. When the ball's wet, it's much more difficult to bend because the leather on your shoe and the leather on the ball is slipping now. It's not gripping, so the ball really doesn't come off your foot with a good spin. And he still finds a way to get it done. And also, like you said, the power, but actually he hits a ball in a certain way where he's coming from below and he wraps his leg over top of the ball, so he gets that up and down motion so he can keep it down with some pace.
Foul on Manchester United. You are watching ESPN's coverage of the UEFA Champions League. This is match day 3 from Fenerbahçe Stadium in Istanbul, Turkey. Along with Peter Vermees, I'm John-Paul Della Camera. Manchester United, on the strength of 2 second-half goals, 5 minutes apart, are leading 2-0 over the home side Fenerbahçe, who are really in a huge hole now. The later this gets, the worse it looks for them. All they needed, it's easy to say, was 1 goal to change it completely around. And then maybe the second one would have come, but until they get that first one, they're a long way off. Bolić can't get through. And again, you still see everybody coming back now for Manchester United. They're not going to be worried too much now. They've got enough goals to win it, so expect as many people back as they can.
I got to give credit to Bolić. He has done a fantastic job. That guy keeps working and working. He keeps checking for the ball. He's held the ball well. He's turned. He's tried to find opportunities at the goal. He's got a very high work rate, and he's done a tremendous job for the team so far. It's a shame he can't get that little, look of daylight that he's looking for to get that shot off around the box.
He's taken some mean whacks, too, in this game, and he's bounced right back up. All the good strikers get kicked. This one went out.
That type of situation, when you find yourself down the right side wide open, you cannot afford the opportunity to kick that ball out of bounds, because when you're faced with that this late in the game, that ball has to be kept in, has to be a good cross across the box. If somebody's not there, that's what you're going to get on your team about, not about you kicking the ball out of bounds. You have to be sure that you cross it in the middle of the field.
Just had a shot of Eric Cantona, whose second goal may have put this one really out of reach. Fenerbahçe at home are in jeopardy of losing their 2nd straight game. Also, 2nd straight shutout at home. That won't please the home fans, who have been fairly festive throughout this game, singing, whistling, cheering and jeering. And they're still very vocal now, but their side is down 2-0 and not showing really signs of life here that you'd like to see if you're the home side fans hoping for a recovery for this team.
No, they've actually changed the way they play, the intensity, the movement of the ball, and also the movement of players. It's much more dramatic than it was in the first half. And at the same time, you got to see that play has been picked up by Manchester United. They're playing a 1- and 2-touch game, whereas it's a different story now. You can see the difference in the way Fenerbahçe comes forward. They are attacking with people who realistically should not be on the ball. You need to make sure that Okocha gets the ball. Even Erol, who just came into the game, and now other people are starting to feel that it's a desperate situation. I need to try and do something, and that's the difference between a good team and a great team. Great teams know that even when they're down 2-0 or they're losing a game, what have you, they always continue to do the same things that they do in a game, and that is to play the same people.
How about the disappearing act of Kostadinov?
Yeah, he is a player that only is brought into a game if there's somebody like Okocha can find and, can dribble like two guys and get him free to have a chance on goal. He's not much of a player that does things on his own. He needs more players around him to create things for him.
Corner kick. Sent across from Beckham, and it's caught easily. Rüştü, the 23-year-old goalkeeper, is there. Well, we're down to about 10 minutes, depending on injury time here. Manchester United, depending on Juventus result, could have a share of the top spot in Group C. I will update you before going off air today. Poborský, shot from behind. Manchester United up by a pair. Beckham and Cantona are your goal scorers. Schmeichel out to take this. Chelsea and Wimbledon, that's the next Premier League matchup. Monday you can join Mike Hill and Tommy Smith for the full coverage. Gianluca Vialli, Ruud Gullit playing for Chelsea every Monday. Premier League competition here on ESPN, and that whole league spent a fortune this summer. Vialli, one of the many named players Ravanelli also brought over, trying to become the Premier League, no pun intended, I think, in the world. Serie A may have something to say about that. Schmeichel clears it. Poborský. This is not a bad time, Peter, to be an international star with the money that they're throwing around these days.
It's just incredible how they can afford to pay the players, which they're playing at the moment. And I'll tell you, the names that they're bringing over there, if those players can be as effective as where they came from, what a league England's going to have and what kind of teams they're going to be able to place in European football. It's going to be incredible.
Fenerbahçe straight ahead, not showing any real signs of urgency. They're down by 2. Here's Kostadinov against Irwin. There's the double team and a pretty hard hit there by Nicky Butt. From the outside, the strip by Ronny Johnsen from Norway. Here he comes. Johnsen brought down by Uche. Manchester players wondering if that was necessary, and a yellow card was just flashed,
which was very good by the referee, because that was an unnecessary foul. Coming from behind, the way he just kicked his leg from behind, there was not even a chance going after the ball there.
Kemalettin is the player who got it. Thought they were going to give it to Uche, who was over there in the neighborhood as well. It was Kemalettin that gets it. A lot of yellow cards in the Champions League. And they can be costly once they add up. Many a good player has missed some games. We're going to see some substitutions. And I don't know who they're whistling at, the player leaving or the player coming on, but somebody's not very popular.
I think Kostadinov coming off because he really didn't do much in the game today. His work rate wasn't there. And, again, his gestures on the field probably doesn't suit well with the fans.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine him during a sub coming on unless it was somebody controversial who has not been playing well so far. But Turek is in, Tunke is out, Aygün is in, Kostadinov is out. Kostadinov seemed to be more effective in the first half, but I'm not blaming him because of what you had said earlier. He needs the service. He's not like Okocha, who can do it on his own.
Yeah, the only thing that ever really he can rely on is his speed to beat somebody with, and still, again, he's still waiting for a service to be played in for him.
This one's going to go out on that far sideline. Well, Manchester United, after a slow start in the Champions League, the 1-0 loss at Juventus, a game that provided them with no shots on goal, came back. They won the second game 2-0 over Rapid Vienna. It could have been a higher score. Here, it's probably going to be a just result. Here in the second half, the way they played, and they are definitely in that driver's seat, 2-0. The only question appears to be if they can keep the shutout, but they're not going to give up a couple of goals in 6 minutes. Well, you wouldn't want to board that flight back to England.
Well, the other unfortunate thing is that Rüştü had actually played very well in the first half, and you always expect your goalkeeper to make one big save. And he did that shot off of Cruijff when he took the half volley and parried it over top of the goal. And then in the second half, that was really realistically the first shot that was taken on him beats him low and near post. And that's an unfortunate thing because up until that point he had played a very, very good game.
From the far side, Fenerbahçe, they were looking for Bolić. Maybe a chance from the outside. That's deflected. You know, there have been so many blocks today by the Manchester United defense, and the bounces have been good too for Schmeichel. Nothing is deflected by him, no own goals, but credit the defense, they blocked quite a few shots today.
They have, and it's because it seems as if they actually packed the middle of the field. Once the ball starts coming in, you see all the defenders just come inside because it's easy to react if the ball's played back outside. It's easier for guys to react out wide than it is once the ball's in the middle of the field. So they pack the middle and they're able to clog it up. And once you hit a shot, somebody's there to block it or get a deflection. And it's actually worked out well for them, like you said, because one or two times the ball deflected the opposite way where Schmeichel was going for the initial shot, but it went over top of the goal or actually went past, and he was very fortunate.
Uche swings it wide. Ilker. Too much time on the ball. You got to cross it quicker than that. He will get the corner out of it, but could have done better.
Ilker has to be a lot smarter than that. I mean, there's not much time left, and he's still trying to dribble a guy he just dribbled. So,
did you see that? The linesman, I think Okafor didn't have the ball position right, and it looked like he was trying to grab his leg and say, "Come back here."
Was it his leg or the back of his pants?
That was incredible. Okocha setting it across. Cleared away. Settled. Ibrahim wants it on the left foot. Oh, another block. Add that to the total. How's that for starting a counterattack? They are getting the bounces. I mean, they almost could have had a 2-on-1 break the other way on that deflection. Solskjær, remember that name. He's only 23, but the more you see him, the more you're going to like him the way he plays in the red of Manchester.
And he does a great thing here. When he gets the ball in the counterattack, he realizes to see Poborský on the other side running. So what he does is he just keeps possession of the ball, slows it down, and he dribbles actually across the field instead of directly at the goal. And you don't think it's much of a threatening attack, but the defender comes in and fouls him, and then he slows and wastes some more time for his team. You know, he's got a lot of experience for a guy of his age.
And right now it's all about time and wasting time and controlling the ball and the clock. Manchester United have this one. All the way back to Schmeichel in the 88th minute. Fenerbahçe reduced to just chasing it.
This is where I think England's the best, when they come out of the back just playing one touch, because they're so used to doing it in the league that they do it so well, and they're not under pressure because in the league they play with so much pressure.
Look at Cantona! And in the end, the pressure from Uche, but how about the run? He beats everybody.
Well, we talked about being such a big man, how much skill he has. He dribbles through like 3 different people there, actually just beating the last guy here. Does a great job of cutting the ball back again, and Uche can't get up to him, and he actually hits this ball off bounds. If he hits this just right, it's in the back of the net.
Without a doubt, it would have been his second goal. He has one, Beckham has the other. If the score stands like this, Beckham's goal is actually the game winner. He scored in the 55th. This is the classic example, though, of how a road team should play in any competition, but especially in something like the Champions League. First half, they were more defensive-minded. They had the result they wanted, as you suggested. Take a couple of more chances in the second half, push forward. It resulted in the 1 goal. And once they had that 1 goal, they were on their way.
Yeah, and now they've done a tremendous job of keeping possession and just not like this, knocking balls out, realizing where they're at, how much time's in the clock, where the play is, everything. They've been very smart tactically on the field in the second half, and they've played to the 2-0 result very, very well.
One of the things you like to look for, I think, in coaching is what do coaches do at halftime to change things? And you saw that the things that worked for Fenerbahçe did not work in the second half because Manchester United put a stop to it.
That's correct, and then, again, it all comes from coaching, but especially the way that they shut down Okocha with bringing Johnsen up and putting more pressure on him in his own half of the field and not giving him that opportunity to see the field.
Fenerbahçe looking to try to get on the board, break the shutout. Pallister says no to that. It stays in play. Fenerbahçe with Tarık going down. Manchester United knocks it away for Johnsen. He keeps the ball with 3 players chasing him. Poborský. Knocked away. We're in the final seconds, depending on injury time. Gilker. Now it's pumped long by Fenerbahçe, headed right back to the goalkeeper. Smart, steady play by the Manchester United defense. And right now, with Schmeichel holding on, we're in injury time. Broken up by Ilker. Poborský. And now it's headed down by Butt. Solskjær was looking for Poborský. He was breaking right. The ball went left. Kemalettin's pass. Okocha. Knocked all the way back to Schmeichel. And Schmeichel sends this one a mile.
Another thing that adds so much to their team is Schmeichel is so confident with his feet back there that they'll give him the ball with anybody. Even you saw there, Okocha was running in on him, and he got the ball, and he, instead of taking one touch, he took 2 touches, which makes it great for your team.
Offside flag went up. Schmeichel will kill some more of the clock. Manchester United looking on. We are 1 minute into injury time. How much time did he just waste? Schmeichel with a clearance. You can tell by his reaction where that ball was going. Throw in, Fenerbahçe, Ilker. The sold-out crowd was expecting more from the home side. They almost got it in the first half. But when they couldn't score, that proved to be one of the reasons, certainly, for their downfall. And in the second half, just 10 minutes into it, Manchester United gets one, and then another 5 minutes later, they get another. Minute and a half of injury time gone. Fenerbahçe trying to get themselves on the board. You never know when the goal differential will come into play in tiebreakers in this Champions League. You never like to be shut out, especially at home. 2 minutes now in injury time. That's it. Game over. The road side wins. Manchester United and Peter, in the second half especially, they proved that this was a convincing 2-0 win.
Well, Manchester United deserved the game, especially in the second half, and tactically they played the 2-0 result very, very well. Unfortunately for Fenerbahçe, they didn't do the things that they needed to do in the first half to score.
There are your goal scorers. The goals came minutes apart in the 55th and 60th from Beckham and Cantona. Stick around. We'll have our post-match wrap coming straight ahead. It's Manchester United who may have a share of the title. We'll check that out and bring you the standings as well as highlights when we return. Manchester United wins by 2.